The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Chaffetz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I stand in support of this amendment. I worry that we're doing things that will have a lot of unintended consequences, and I'm sure getting the government involved will solve all of our problems. So I'd like to yield my time to the gentleman from California who offered the amendment, Mr. Issa.
I thank the gentleman. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Paulus is probably better at educating people as to the nuances of domain resolution and so on, but let me just give you some food for thought of why, as it's currently drawn, it won't work, and if not redrawn through a markup at a time when we can get to it, you'll have a bill that will be not worthy of being considered on the floor. If you want to block hyperlinks, remember, a hyperlink is just a set of words. The fact is that anyone can type in the hyperlink if you block it, and you can't stop the printed word. We have no constitutional basis to stop the printed word. More importantly, I can go to Zone Edit or any number of other companies, and I can move in a matter of seconds where something resolves to. So when you start looking and saying, well, okay, so there's two legs of what you're trying to stop not working. The third one, of course, which I think Ms. Lofgren did a good job of explaining, is if you simply assume that instead of using Google, where we have tremendous cooperation, we have assistance and a whole team that tries to help in anti-piracy, or Yahoo or Bing or whoever, you simply go to, you know, I guess to be politically correct, we'd say macaca.com search engine, and over there, it's in some foreign country. We can't block it because it's just a search engine. It's not in here. You guys finally remembered macaca. Okay. You go to that search engine, which is just a search engine, but it's outside our reach. It's in a country that would scream bloody murder if we tried to block it, and it searches all kinds of other things, but of course it also doesn't respect this law. Guess what? We've just moved the most popular site in the world, Google, and its number 2s and 3s and 4s, all of whom are American. We've just moved it offshore in favor of a site that will become popular with Americans and the rest of the world. The world searches on Google. The world searches on Bing and Yahoo. The world does not search on, you know, macaca.com. And it won't if we continue to leave the Internet reasonably free to do this. Lastly, again, I mentioned that, you know, we dealt with the V-chip when I was in business. Well, can you imagine the Motion Picture Association, who so much wants this piece of legislation as it's currently drafted, if we had done the same thing to their movies, which were PG, X, R-rated, and the like, and simply said you've got to ban them, they've got to be stopped from being on the cable internet, there'd be a hue and cry. And yet this form of censorship is every bit as bad, because it's not going to be based on one event, based on deliberation of a jury or a judge. It's going to be a default against some foreign entity, and then hundreds of thousands of cease and desist sub-orders issued under it. The fact is there are unintended consequences. I think people who know this industry far better than I do keep pointing them out, and these letters keep coming in. The 100,000 petitions not to go forward with this says a great deal, because it's the tip of the iceberg. Mr. Chairman, I will once again respectfully ask, from a person who I've worked with on bill after bill after bill, treat this more like patent reform and we will get a better bill. Patent reform, although it took longer than anyone wanted, had a hearing or 2 or 3, and Mr. Sensenbrenner is sitting here, so he knows very well, at subcommittee and full committee, every single Congress, even though we had already worked on similar legislation. We've always on this committee tended to err on the side of more information, more hearings. We're a hard-working committee. This is one in which one company was summoned to be told that they were a problem on a panel where they were the only, if you will, other side. We need to have more than that, and I know that the time is limited at the full committee, but I will tell you, at the subcommittee, I am sure we can get a very, very good section of witnesses so we can do this work.
The gentleman yield.
The time belongs to the gentleman from Utah.